Lie on your back and place the loops on your feet near the heels. Assume the frog position, heels together, knees shoulder width, tailbone anchored down. Firmly hold the poles with forearms parallel to the floor, elbows inward. For frog, press the legs out strongly and resist them back in. Work with opposition and engage your powerhouse. As your legs press out, deepen your abdominals in and up. Actively press the heels of your hands into the poles and make sure your tailbone remains firmly anchored into the mat. For leg circles, keep your legs extended and draw your straight legs toward you, heels together. At the top of the movement, arc your legs around, down, and then straight up the midline. Keep the circles contained. If you widen your legs too far, you will lose your connection to the powerhouse. Changing directions, heels now meet at the top. Use your inner thighs to control the legs straight down the center line, and then reach long through the legs to complete the circle. For walks, work your legs down to the mat, 8 walks down and 8 walks back up. Use your inner thighs to hug into the midline. Legs go straight down and straight up. For beats, tap your heels together, working the legs down and then up again. Work in sets of 5 or 6. Stay close to the midline, lengthening the legs into the springs, and work your inner thighs. For bicycle, turn the legs out slightly so the springs go between the legs. Fluidly work the legs and keep the tailbone anchored onto the mat. The goal is to achieve full extension of the legs, momentarily making an L shape, one leg straight up, the other leg straight out. To change directions, draw the straight leg toward you while reaching the other leg along the mat. Work smoothly and remain in full control of the springs. For circular frog, press the feet straight down onto the mat. Slide the heels along the mat to straighten the legs. Open the legs shoulder width, lift the legs, close them, and return to the frog position. Work the legs smoothly and symmetrically. Be careful to maintain firm control of the springs. To reverse, press the legs out roughly 45 degrees. Open them to shoulder width, lower them to the mat, and then bring them together. Opening your knees so the springs go between your legs, drag the feet along the mat toward the hips. Return to the frog position each time. Moving to advanced work, prepare for the hip lifted series by rolling up the hips, bringing your knees to ears. Press your feet toward the ceiling, catch the springs, and plank yourself down to a roughly 45-degree angle. For leg circles, maintain length through the entire body and press the legs up, circle around, down, in, and up. Keep the powerhouse lifted while keeping the body in one long, straight line. Changing directions, heels touch at the top of the movement. Inner thighs draw the legs down the center line and circle around, up, and in. For walks, lengthen the legs down toward the mat, 8 walks down and 8 walks back up. Push actively with the arms and press inward with your inner thighs. Work your legs straight up and down the midline. For beats, tap the heels together in sets of 5 or 6, working the legs at different levels. Maintain a strong awareness of the center line, lengthening through the powerhouse and engaging your inner thighs. For bicycle, send one leg toward the ceiling while reaching the other out at a 45-degree angle. Work as fluidly and smoothly as possible while maintaining the lift of the body. Make sure the springs go between the legs. To reverse, draw the straight legs toward you, sending the other out 45 degrees. When finished, plank the body down in one straight line. Once down, open the knees, slide the heels up the mat, and return to the frog position. For airplane, we switch sides to make use of the lower spring settings to create more challenge. Besides, a tall person would hit the push-through bar with his feet if working from the other direction. To perform the airplane, curl the hips up, send the feet toward the ceiling, catch the springs, and plank down. Try to touch heels and hip to the mat at the same time. Open the knees, slide the heels up the mat, and then return to the frog position. To reverse, plank the body straight up, bring knees to ears without lowering the hips, and roll through your spine one vertebra at a time to return to the frog position. Then, press the feet to the mat, slide the heels along the mat to straighten the legs, and plank yourself up again. Work with smooth, even control, alternating between being planked and articulating through a rounded spine. Just like a real airplane, smooth takeoffs and smoother landings. If you have the requisite strength, you might want to challenge yourself by attempting the airplane without springs. Make sure your arms are completely straight so you can produce a leveraging pull with your arms. The movement is the same as with springs, of course, but without spring assistance, you put your back in a potentially vulnerable position. Deepen the powerhouse, lengthen through the whole body, and pull with your arms. Imagine that your power muscles are steel girders supporting you in the plank position. I would not be overly concerned if you find this variation inaccessible. Personally, it is not a daily staple of my workout. I occasionally use it as a benchmark to test my strength. You can challenge yourself with airplane in a completely different way by using the airplane board. Attach your feet to the loops on top of the board. Since your feet and legs are now apart, the board introduces an element of instability, out of which you must supply the counterbalancing strength. In addition, think of the airplane board as a scale. If the scale tips, you know you are not in balance. So keep your eyes on the board and make sure you are evenly distributing your effort. Keep the board level as you work through every position. This has been a presentation of Pilates Connections. Your feedback and constructive criticism are important to us. So log on to the Pilates Connections discussion board and help us to better serve the Pilates community.